Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I wanted to start this video out with something I got that's interesting from Nathan Craik at the True NDK. Not sure what that means, but I like his picture here. Okay, this is what he sent to me, and this is you're going to see more and more of this. We've been talking about this. This is a website called Crypto Numis. That's CRYPTONUMUS.io. Swapping digital assets for real estate is simple with Crypto Numis. And what they're doing here is they're allowing, more or less allowing people to pay for properties with Bitcoin right now, and I think they have other digital assets. But like this is one in Alberta. Let's take a look. But this is real estate. You can buy this for 60.99 Bitcoin, and this is a property right here that they're talking about. But as you can see, this is where everything is going. You're going to be able to look at this Bitcoin swap amount 61. They're given a range of BTC that this can be purchased for. So and then they have several addresses here. Pretty interesting. But the world that we're about to enter is where you're going to be able to pay with any kind of digital asset. I believe that at some point you will be able to pay. All of this will be so liquid. You'll be able to pay. You might be able to pay for this piece of real estate with a token that represents your ownership in a portion of the Empire State Building or whatever. I believe that all of these are going to flow that in such a liquid fashion like that. It might go from your Empire State Building token and then flow straight. It might take a ride in XRP and then eventually come out in whatever the digital asset that they accept. I believe that's the world that we are entering. Okay, got this from XRP On Tour at Crypto Cubanito sent me this, and that is. This is an article, if I can get it. Okay, here we go. This is interesting. Invest in blockchain article. BTC, ETH, XRP, Litecoin get shown on a French TV during prime time for millions of viewers. As France plans more regulations around cryptocurrency, one French television channel has given French viewers a brief introduction to cryptocurrency after they hosted a segment on their show where a lookalike of Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse was participating, and one question had to do with cryptocurrencies. Now, I don't know if this if this was done intentionally. I couldn't tell from reading this, but it's still fascinating. They're asking a question here, and Ripple is one of the answers. They don't call it XRP, but they should have. But anyway, this guy, I don't know if they intentionally put in a Brad Garlinghouse lookalike, but I think it's hilarious if they did. Okay, and then I got this from XRP James T at XRP James sent me this. Come on, Mr. Computer. All right, now this was covered a while back, but the FUD just popped back up, and so I wanted to show it to you. Inside Jeff Goldberg's war against the Twitter bots and the XRP Army, how one data scientist took it on himself to strong arm the Twitter bots into submission. So this guy's like a warrior, and he's just fighting all of these robots. We're all robots, you know. And he's got there's some, I mean, this is a total hit piece, folks. I was floored by the number of accounts with XRP in their names. They have this stuff for every country, for all major cities. They're trying to billboard Twitter with the XRP Army. Well, I'm no robot, I can tell you that. In fact, if I was a robot, I don't think the robot would be programmed to have a Southern accent, a South Georgia accent. Do you think? They would try to make it have more like a Northeast, maybe a Harvard accent, I believe. So this bot, this is no bot here, but he's got a whole study but they basically try to conclude in this article that he proved his point and all the XRP people are wrong and we just can't admit it and all this. But I mean, it's like, wow, I've been in this community for a good while now, and I can tell you that there are a lot of very active people. I mean, these are people that direct message me and have interactive conversations and things. I mean, this is a premise that was created by someone who is anti-XRP. All right, and there's a lot of them. Okay, next from Web Surfer, for the first time in 2019, venture capital funding in blockchain and crypto startups Asian markets have surpassed their Western counterparts. So blockchain investment is even bigger in Asia now. It's surpassed the United States or the West. Okay, let's see. From Crypto Utility Guy, Utility Guy 7 sent me this Bloomberg article right here. As we've talked about a lot on this channel, everything's going to be tokenized, folks. Everything. And so here, SocGen introduces crypto to a $2 trillion market, a bond market as old as capitalism itself has emerged as the latest proving ground for cryptocurrencies. A unit of Societe Generale SA sold 100 million euros, $112 million of covered bonds, debt backed by mortgages in the form of digital tokens, with the French bank as the only buyer. The idea of last month's pilot issue, conceived by what the bank called an internal startup, was to test how the technology behind virtual currencies can be used to cut costs and speed settlement for securities. As we've talked about many times on this channel, everything that you can name is going to be tokenized and on the blockchain when this is all said and done. And this is one of their tests to get it done. Okay, XRP big time. Turkey's central bank unexpectedly raised borrowing costs for the country's lenders on Thursday in an attempt to bolster a currency battered by political turmoil and a broader sell-off across emerging markets. At some point, all of these central bankers are going to realize that they are the problem. The whole idea of all of this being centralized, like this guy or this guy, is going to fix things or be able to come up with the next gimmick to fix the economy. If they would just stay out of it, which is what digital assets are going to fix, if they would just stay out of it and quit trying to control anything, let the market be the market, then everything would eventually be fixed. But because of the mess they've created, there will be a lot of pain that has to be gone through in order for that to happen. But these central figures and central authorities, they don't want the populations to go through any pain. And the reason they don't is because politicians are also involved. And the politicians can't afford, they're not going to get reelected if they let people go through the pain that is going to be necessary to ever truly fix the economies of the world. Okay, next. This is Mike Novogratz. $41 million Binance heist will trigger regulators, warns Bitcoin bull. Now, I want to make one point on this, okay? Many of us, we've bought things on Binance. I've bought digital assets on Binance. You may have. I tell you all the time not to keep your digital assets on exchanges. But there's the main reason is if the exchange gets hacked, okay? You don't want to have your digital assets on the exchanges. That's why I always talk about the Ledger Nano S. Well, he's right here, okay? $41 million Binance heist will trigger regulators. Well, when these kind of things happen, regulators start paying attention. Well, I just want to give you all a warning out there. I'm a Binance fan, big time. But it is possible, just like they used to do. I've brought this up one time before, I believe. When internet gambling was illegal and people were opening up gambling, online gambling in like Antigua and different places, when that was going on, you could not go on if you were like in the United States and gamble through those sites. I believe they cracked down on like Visa and different things, but you couldn't do it. And in a lot of cases, if you were logging on from the United States, something would pop up and it would say that you're not in a country that can go there. Well, don't think for a minute that some of the countries around the world could not do the same thing to you if you're trading on Binance. You could log on as a result of this. Even you could log on from a country, and all of a sudden that country's government has said, we don't want our people to be hurt by trading on Binance. That could happen, and don't be surprised if it happens. So you need to have your digital assets off of the exchanges, and that's just one more reason. Okay, next, this is from TN Fury. Every time I see this name, he reminds me of that big, huge boxer I think it's out of Ireland, that calls himself, he was named after Mike Tyson. His name's Tyson Fury. Not a guy I would want to tangle with. Hong Kong regulator issues another 4 virtual banking licenses. The HKMA gave out its first 3 licenses in March. Well, when you see this, folks, this is Hong Kong. We've seen it in Switzerland, I believe. But when you hear virtual banking license, what this means is your fiat currencies all of a sudden having digital assets in those bank accounts side by side. The banks, to the bankers of the world, you better pay attention to this, because if you don't do it, you won't be a bank in the next few years. All right, and next, trading firms propose bad actors blacklist to clean up crypto industry. The reason I wanted to show you this is because Ripple's mentioned in this article. A group of cryptocurrency trading firms has come together to discuss ways to prevent the rising number of hacks and scams in the industry. Ripple market maker Cumberland, Mike Novogratz's Galaxy Digital Holdings, and over 30 other firms met at a recent roundtable event in Chicago for the initiative, Bloomberg reported Thursday. Creating a list of entities involved in directly or indirectly in criminal activities, much as money laundering and drug trafficking, was one of the ideas. Giving companies in good standing some form of accreditation was another, according to the report. Well, folks, all of this, these hacks and all of this stuff, this is clearly opening the door for people like Bakkt to come in and say, hey, here we are. We're here to save digital assets. Now it's legitimate. But, you know, a problem, I don't care who it is, Bakkt or anybody else. Remember, this Binance hack, this was not a hack of what Binance is supposed to protect. All of these exchanges, and I don't really see how you get around this. Well, maybe, I mean, I'm sure there's a way. But all of these exchanges, they claim to put about 98% of the digital assets traded on their platform in what's called cold storage, so that it can't be hacked. Okay, just like a Ledger Nano S would be cold storage, to having your private keys offline. Well, but that's not what was hacked. It's the 2% that they have to keep online for trading purposes that is what was hacked. And so I don't know what they do to get around that, because you have to have some of that liquidity on these exchanges in order for them to operate. So that 2%, the way I see it, no matter who the exchange is always going to be vulnerable, unless maybe if it's a decentralized exchange, it wouldn't be that way. But that's something that's going to have to be looked at. All right, next, I've told you about Hedera Hashgraph before. I believe that Hedera Hashgraph, and it's at Hashgraph, I believe Hedera Hashgraph is, from what I've read, is 3rd or 4th generation digital assets. It is not blockchain. It's called I think it's called Hashgraph technology. But this was an announcement from them today. Proud to announce that Hedera Hashgraph is part of Hyperledger's growing global community, an open source collaborative effort created to advance cross-industry blockchain technologies. See here for more details. The reason I wanted to show you this is because guess who else is in Hyperledger? That would be Ripple, as well as Coil and several other names you know. But if you want a good place to go and look at which digital assets you should investigate investing in, this would be a good place to go look, because the who's who in blockchain and these technologies are listed in this on this website. This is hyperledger.org. Next, this is from Master at XTDISNKFE. Listen, Bitcoin is moving towards a third parabolic move in the last decade. I repeat, a third parabolic move. This is historic. In the words of Peter Brandt, you do not short or bet against a third parabolic move. And this, they're showing you what Bitcoin's third parabolic move should look like. And this is the graphic here. And they're pointing to Bitcoin going to at least $60,000 per Bitcoin. That's an interesting little chart there. Okay, as I told you, go get a Ledger Nano S. You can get it in the description of all of my videos. They're running a deal right now where you can get the Ledger Nano X, which is Bluetooth enabled, and you can get the original Ledger, which is the Ledger Nano S, which is what I use, and you can get one of each for $149 right now. So that's in the description of all my videos. And finally, this quote rang true to me. Everyone wants it, but few work for it. I would say it a different way. Everyone says they want it, but everyone is not willing to put in the sacrifice necessary to get it. I tell my sons this all the time. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Thank you for listening.